Kupina makhaya amadolobheni asekoplasta khona sawubona ke mbukeli, and a warm welcome to this week's edition of Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. Silethela ke lapha kwamama phambili SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Mina ke ngingsimpiwe ngqongwana. And today we're casting the spotlight on solar energy installations and the mistakes that consumers make. Singamosheke isikhathi singene shwi endzabeni namhla. So many South Africans are turning to solar energy, all hoping to escape the rising electricity tariffs and the endless load shedding. But while this promises savings and peace of mind, experts do warn that a wrong move could cost you far more than Eskom ever did. Cutting corners with cheap installations have come at a huge cost to unsuspecting consumers.
Makancede aphakamisa isandla uthi uyawathanda amaxabiso ombane abizwa ngo-Eskom. Akukho mntu ungakhaliyo. Yilonto abaninzi bechasela kude kwinto edibene no-Eskom. Endaweni yayo bakhetha ukusebenzisa inkqubo yombane welanga, i-solar system ngokwamakhumsha. Yona iyafuneka kuba icutha iindleko zombane. Kodwa ingxaki ayinguye wonke ubani okwaziyo ukufikelela kuyo.
Ndiyayibawela ndiyayinqwenela ngokuba ndibe nayo but ndiye ndicinga uba iyadura, andiyazi uba ixabiso layo yimalini.
Ngiyafuna vele i-electric le yasibulala baba le Eskom idurile electric.
Yena ngiyayibona tata mara isolar it's way expensive. Like me, I stay at the village. If I don't have a solar, but I can still use a fire compared to a solar, because the fire can go anywhere and get the wood and come back home and cook, unlike solar, because I can't afford solar, it's too expensive.
Ukuphepha ixabiso elixhomileyo lokusebenzisa le nkqubo, uninzi lukhetha ovuke engcini abathi bangakufakela ngexabiso eliphantsi kakhulu. Umzekelo, endaweni yokuhlawula ikhulu lamawaka eerandi, i-100,000 ungabufakela ubuchwepheshe ngesiqingatha salo mali. Ngubani ongayibhebhetha loo nyweba?
So this one, what we have here, it is the inverter. So when
ingcali kushishino lokufakela kobuxhakaxhaka besolar zilungisa ngelithi kukho ubungozi ekusebenziseni ovuke engcini. Uconfidence Mabulwana uthi ayibobulumko into yokusebenzisa abantu abangaqeqeshelwanga ukwenza lo msebenzi.
I wouldn't recommend that you cut corners. The reason for that is one thing for sure in life you will pay. It's either you pay initially or you pay later. If you take shortcut whereby you use someone that is not accredited or you buy substandard types of equipment, it will always going to catch up with you. It will catch up with you in the following way. Number one, solar, as much as it looks like there's no sound like a generator, it is dangerous. There's a huge risk of someone that can get shocked by electricity and die or get injured, or you can have fire that will burn the property itself. And if you can have any insurance claim, if one of the equipment is damaged or the house has burned, you do insurance claim. The insurer will send someone to come and do investigations, and they will find out that the installation was not done according to the standards. Then as a result of that, that claim is going to be rejected, meaning that you have thrown the money in the pit.
Umabulwana uthi baninzi abantu bacinga ukuba ukufakela isola yinto engenzona ngubani na. Yilonto ezinike uxanduva lokulungisa lo mpazamo. Uqeqesha abantu abafuna ukwazi kunye nolwazi nezakhono ezifunekayo kolushishino. Xa ujongile yintoni enganzima ekubekeni obuxhakaxhaka phezu kwendlu ilanga likunike oko ukufunayo.
It's not like that. It might look like it's easy when you drive on the street, you just see the panels on top of the roof. It's not like that. First of all, there's some engineering calculation that we are doing. That's why for someone to be trained on solar, we need the person to have a basic electrical understanding. We go through the training itself, and I've also did that training. The training is 5 days intensive training that is also involved the practical after you have done the training itself. Even the pass mark is higher. So there's an engineering calculation that you do. Also, you need to determine how those panels they are going to be connected on the roof itself. So it's not just putting those panels out there, connect them together. Even the cables, you don't just connect them manually using the hand. There's also special tools that are used to do those connections, of which if you take shortcuts on that, the risk of fire is very, very high. The system to fail is very, very high. You might end up losing your expensive sound system, your expensive TV, if it's an office environment, the printer and any other imported equipment, because of taking short corners, saying that the panel is just a panel, you're just going to connect. It's not like that. There's some engineering calculations that you need to be done.
Okamabulana uthi sukukhokelisa imali xa ucinga ukusebenzisa isola kuba ungafumana isaphulelo namhlanje kodwa wonzakala kakhulu epokothweni xa kufika ingxaki. Manyathelo mane kufuneka uwathathe ukuze uphephe. Vuyisile Mdota, Yilungelo Lakho.
Now on the show, we shine the spotlight on solar power mistakes and why cutting corners could leave your bank account and your roof in the dark. We are pleased to welcome Rocco Barnard from Ingwe Energy, Rein, Snoeck, Henkemans from Alumo Energy. A very good afternoon to you, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Rocco, I'm going to start with you. Maybe just, we certainly cannot overemphasize the importance of making sure that whenever you want to do or make an installation of solar panels on your roof, you need to do it with an accredited personnel, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the both the registration of personnel and the company with the Department of Labour as electrician is important, that they can actually do the COCs as well, understand the aspects, and in some of the cases with large installations, professional engineers registered with the Engineering Council of South Africa. So
right,
absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. Now, Rein, let me also bring you in. I mean, we heard in the insert, the processes of installing a solar panel, that it's just far more than just laying the solar panels on the roof. There's so much work that goes, behind that.
Correct. A solar panel creates power, and creates power it will transfer through the cables, and you have to have that in conduits. You've got to mount your panel away from your roof, otherwise it can cause a fire. And there's conduits you've got to do, and you also got to put protection in, where if you just go the cheap route and you just put the panel lying on your roof and you throw your cable down and you plug it into your inverter, there's a lot of risks involved in there, fire and all those type of things. So yes, getting the correct guy to install it, who's qualified, who's trained, and can sign it off is crucial to make sure your house is safe. In the end, your family is sleeping there, so make your house very, very safe.
Yeah, yeah. And I would imagine there's so much, that entails, installing a solar system. A solar system is not just the panels. There's so many, moving parts in terms of the installation of a solar system. Maybe if you could just paint a picture of what a solar system looks like and what it entails and all the other different elements of a solar system.
Okay, so the main part that when you drive around, you see the solar panel on the roof.
Yeah.
That's the common part. That will go down on cables down to an inverter. So that converts the power from the roof, that is DC, into the AC, which is what your house uses. And then you also can click a battery in. So you can connect a battery. In South Africa, batteries are very favorable because we have load shedding and we have power outages and that type of stuff. So you can always click a battery in. And then, of course, Eskom, you've got to connect into your inverter to power the inverter when the sun is not shining, like at night.
Yeah. If I can just add to that, I think the important element, you touched on it a bit earlier, is actually the let's call it the balance of the installation, like the protection that you touched on earlier. And I think it's quite important in the market. That part is neglected quite often in the market, leading to some of the dangers that you mentioned. And as you touched on it already, that people must realize that's a very important element of keeping a system safe at all times.
Yeah, and you just touched on one of the many mistakes that consumers make when choosing a solar system. Let's talk about some of them. What is it, or what are some of the mistakes that they tend to make in terms of selecting, a proper or fit solar system for them?
Yeah, I think what people must realize, the fitting of a panel on the roof is the easy part. And we always say that there are not much skills in that. The problem is, can you do it right? And can the system actually deliver what you want it to deliver by designing it right?
Yeah.
And there are actually 5 key steps that I'll just on a high level touch on. One must make sure that the design is right, because most people put it in to save money, or when we're at load shedding to actually deal with that.
What do you mean design? Is there particular design?
It's one must know the equipment well enough to actually know what it will deliver. We've did some rough calculations. Each 600 watt panel if designed correctly, should be able to save you about 10 Rand of electricity per day, each panel, 600 watt.
Okay.
So, but it must obviously be designed correctly that, for example, on the systems, if you, energy in is equal to energy out. So if you generate energy when you don't use it, that energy must go somewhere. If the battery is full and you're in an area where you can't export, then the system throttle back. So people think that they're going to get great savings, not realizing that your production must actually be right in terms of your usage. So that's one example of that, where your design must be right in terms of what you need.
You made just an interesting point there, that when the battery is full, where does the excess power go to? I'm quite keen to understand that part.
Yeah, so they call it throttling. So a lot of people look at curves and what they can expect, and even in some of the cases simulations, not realizing that is actually a best case scenario. The system, if it can't go anywhere and the battery is full, the production actually reduces. Really? Even to a 10% or whatever you use at that stage. So you don't get the returns and the money savings that you thought you would.
Really?
For example, say there are not many people at home during the day. So the battery is charged full quickly in the morning, and then the system cut right back and will just idle until there's usage, if there's still sun. And it's not that the system works flat out the whole day.
So it doesn't mean that the more full the battery is, then the longer I would have solar energy in my house.
Yeah, of course, if the batteries is full, depending on how many you've got, when there's inadequate solar, it will start to draw on the battery. So the fuller it is, then it will start to use that part. But mostly in the evening in bad weather, or in the evening when there's not sun anymore.
Right, right. Now, Rein, let's talk about what are some of the factors or elements that people should consider before making a solar system quotation.
So my aspect is that when one of my sales reps comes to your house for a design, so they'll design it with you, what is your needs? Are you only going savings, or you're also going, you're in an area with bad power outages, because then you'll need more batteries. So what is your need and what is your budget? I can take you off the grid, but your budget doesn't allow it. So you've got to always have all three questions answered, which way you want to go. So if my budget is, call it 1,000 Rand a month, because we do a rental model, we design the system around that, and you'll get savings, and we'll tell you what the savings are on that.
Right, right.
So yeah, what is your needs and how much money do you want to spend on it?
I'm actually glad you touched on the budgetary element, because we've heard in the inset so many consumers complaining about the high cost of solar systems. One may wonder, why is it so expensive? Because the sun is free. What is it that is expensive? Is it the panel? Is it the batteries? Is it the installation? What really is it goes into installing a solar system that makes it to be so costly?
So the three major components as we talk is the panel, the battery and the inverter. The rest is called balance of system.
Yeah.
So the battery is the most expensive if you're going with a big battery. Inverter will be your second, and the panel is actually by far the cheapest out of the three from a cost point of view. But those three roughly take about 65 to 70% of the cost of the whole system.
Right.
So if those are, let's say it's a 100,000 Rand system, it's a really nice big system, 70,000 Rand of that will probably be those three elements, including the structure to put the panel on your roof, which is very vital, the correct structure on your roof to mount it down there or on there.
But then is it sustainable being 100% off the grid?
Yeah, I think definitely it also for courses depending on the specific client and the needs and what will cost. We see quite a number of area outages that you've touched on. In some of the cases, some areas being without electricity 4 or more days. And in those cases, it's not a matter of economy anymore, it's a matter in terms of electricity security. So in those cases, it obviously helps. But if one do the sums, I think what with us having a background of a lot of load shedding, what people don't always realize is that depending on your load profile, depending on usage and when people need electricity, there are cheaper solutions as well with much better payback periods. For example, you don't need batteries in an installation. One must just understand the downside. You get inverters called grid-tied inverters that can work with panels, but the downside of it is that if the grid is out, then it doesn't work. So in an area with a lot of outages is a problem. But the returns on those systems, it pays for itself within about 2.5 years now, because one mustn't forget the cost of solar were actually halved about the past 2 years. So the cost did come down a lot.
I'm quite interested in getting into that. But please hold your thoughts. Let's take a quick break. Leli, Yilungelo, Lakho. Don't go away. Siyakumukela ke umbukele ke tincingo nto everything vuliwe ukuthi ke nawe ungaba ingcenye enkulumo yethu namhla ungashaya licingo khona la e-studio ku 011-714-0672 ungasithumela futhi na WhatsApp ku 060-844-9857 or you can email your thoughts, your views or topic suggestions to consumer@sabc.co.za or catch us on our social media platforms. If you just joined us, namhla ke sikhuluma ngema solar system and you know the do's and the don'ts, what to look out for. Even before you make that quotation, what are some of the questions that you need to ask, you know, the installer, and you need to check, and we cannot overemphasize the importance of checking the authenticity of that particular installer, because if you don't, then it might cost you dearly, even far more than Eskom did. So it's far more than just solar panels. There's so many moving parts behind that system. Kunema inverters, kunema battery, and it's dependent on how big the size of your house is and what really you need it for. You could use it either to save, you can use it either, you know, if you've got an endemic load shedding or power outage problem. Namhla, we've got experts in studio to answer some of your questions, and please take up that call and call us and ask your questions and even share your experiences about your solar installations. And now, gentlemen, I want you to get, you know, to pick a brain with regards to what are some of the common red flags that, you know, I should pick up before approaching a solar installer.
Yeah, I think one of the first aspects is make sure that the quotation is very detailed. We see a lot of quotations where companies just have 3 or 4 lines. Oh, yes. The more vague, the better for the installer. And you actually want to know specific details of what are you getting. And it shouldn't just be 550 watt or 600 watt tier 1 panel. It should be what exactly you're getting, which brand, what size, what model number, and that all the various items must actually be listed. For example, you know, if we do quotations, there's about 40 line items on it that you can exactly see on that. So I would say that's the first thing for people to look out for. That is not later vague, or it can help in any disputes in terms of was it actually installed what was quoted on.
Rein, you heard, the more vague it is, the better it is for the installers.
I agree 100% with you. One-time solar system is not a quotation. We've seen that often, that guys, they're like, yeah, but look here, I can get this system for 30,000 Rand, and it only says one-time solar system. No, you got to know what inverter I get, if you're going for battery, what battery is, what make it is, how big it is. Because that is a lot of money. The battery is a lot of money. And what battery and what make battery, what type of battery. You get different battery makes, from gel to lead acids to lithium ion. So what make battery and what's the warranties. Just always look at the warranties you're going to get. If it's a 1-year warranty, it's rubbish. We'd rather go up to 5-10-year warranty type batteries. They're much better. And same with the inverters and same with the panels. Panels, I mean, are 20-year warranty now and north of that. So always look at that. And we also look at that it's designed holistically for you, that it must be correct. It's like, are you going to go buy a car? You're going to buy tires there, an engine there, and a thing? No, you're not. You're going to buy a car as one whole thing from a reputable company. Same with the solar system. Don't go and buy a little part from this company and that distributor. It's just not going to work. My call center is inundated with phone calls that they are breaking.
I would imagine.
So rather go to call it a one-stop shop that can design the system and either do it on a funding model that you pay a monthly rental for it, or with outright purchase.
Right. But then is it necessary to call an expert for something that you know, looks straightforward?
Yes, definitely. You need to be qualified to install it. It's the regulations state that you've got to have electrical qualifications to install the system on your house and sign it off. Eskom's just passed that a PRN doesn't have to sign it for a home anymore, but an electrician who's got a red seal can sign it off. And you need that. You can't install it yourself. You will get electrocuted and stuff like that. So please, watch out. It is a dangerous thing.
Those YouTube tutorials definitely won't work.
No, please don't. That's not a DIY kit.
Maybe if I can add to that. I actually made that mistake when I started solar years ago.
Did you?
I've been working in engineering for, at that stage, about 30 years. Got a master's in electronics. How difficult can it be, right? So when we started, I was really amazed of how much I had to study additional to actually understand it, because the various components, especially on modern inverters, all have special communication methodologies to actually talk to each other. The batteries, the newer batteries now, actually tell the inverter how fast it wants to be charged, when it's too warm, when it must stop, when it must throttle back. So it's a very easy mistake to make, to think, oh, well, how difficult can it be?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I guess what you both gentlemen are saying ties in well with the safety standards. And, the big question is, what are some of the safety standards that we need to follow to ensure that the system is efficient? So
it's system efficient from that point of view. I always explain the solar panel. So if you have, let's go 5 on your roof, if one gets shading on it, it pulls the other 4 panels down to that wattage. Yeah. So it's a bit like call it a hose pipe. Yeah. And you squeeze it somewhere, the rest of the pipe runs at the same flow as where it's squeezed. Okay. Exactly with the solar panel. So when it's designed from an efficiency point of view, you go and put one on the one roof and then you put it on the other side of your house. That panel is not going to produce as much. That panel will bring the whole system down. And you don't get your savings. And in the end, you want to get your savings or security on power. Okay. I mean, that's what you're paying for, and you want a return on your investment. I mean, you're giving money, you want money back.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then, do you think it would be risky if maybe I would buy a solar panel from you and then get a battery or inverter from you just to cut costs because your battery is much cheaper than his? Or should I use the same company for everything? So from my point of view, definitely the same company because of warranty. So if my call center gets called out, or one of my technicians, and we didn't install for warranty claim from the insurance point of view, and we go out and we see there's something not compliant because you bought a battery there, inverter there, a solar panel there, and the cable there, and they forgot to put SPD's surge protection. Our warranty is voided. We got to write back to the manufacturer and say, unfortunately, there's not a warranty claim. The customer is due for the entire cost of their replacement or anything like that. So like you said, it's going to cost you a lot in the end. You're supposed to get 10 years, now you got maybe 2. And you got to replace. So Rocco, your thoughts? Is it wise to get one piece from here, one another piece from there?
I think what one has to ask yourself the question, who's actually the system designer and the system integrator? Who ensures that it actually operates right? And with the solar system, you want to have joy out of it for 10 to 20 years. Now, if you look at a car, if you go and buy tires from one place and you go buy engine another place, who's actually the car designer? If you do that, you are. And do you have the experience in terms of doing that? If you actually buy a car from a place, they've done the engineering, they make sure all the components work. So you must make sure that the system designer, because that's actually who will ensure that the system works right and actually delivers on what you want it to do. So if you've got the technical know-how to do that and be a car builder, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Go for it.
But don't underestimate what it takes in terms of making it work right. Because what you want is, you don't want to have a lot of nuisance tripping, system not working right. People underestimate on the systems how important it is to program it correctly. And they think, okay, if you've connected it together, it's all done. But that's actually just the start of it. That's just the hardware side of it. The whole software side must support it.
Got you. Let's leave it there. Please do join us after this break. Leli, Yilungelo, Lakho. Welcome back, everybody. Our participation lines are now open for you to take part in this conversation. Studio 011-714-0672. Ungasithumela futhi na WhatsApp 060-844-9857. You can also email your views to consumer@sabc.co.za or interact with us on our Facebook page. If you just joined us, again, we're talking about the importance of using a credible solar system installer to install a solar system at your home to avoid all the pitfalls that come with a wrong installation, or a faulty installation, or someone who's not accredited to do that particular work at your home. So we've got a guest in studio. And now, Rocco, I just want us to talk about what happened in the United States and what we can do to avoid the same problems happening here when it comes to bad workmanship in the solar industry, and what really happened there, and that America has had a bad name.
Yeah, we've attended some webinars in the US as well, and in some of these regards, on solar specifically, they've gone through some of the cycles already. And what concerned for us as professionals specifically is that bad installations or bad installers actually gave a bad name to the whole industry. And what happened then, it wasn't company A is good and company B is not as good. It was a matter of, now be careful of the renewable industry. It either doesn't work, or it won't give you returns what's needed, or you're going to pay too much, or you pay for equipment that you don't really need. And that's very close to our hearts, that saying in South Africa, we actually need to do everything we can to ensure that the industry and the integrity of the industry is protected as well, and that consumers can actually feel that they really got a good deal.
Do you think we have here in South Africa, Rein, that we have that the same bad name that installers in America have had? No. And what is it that you think makes people so skeptical about our industry here?
So I don't think we're there yet. I'm worried about it. I agree with that. But in the 2022, that big load shedding number 6, that every man and his dog was installing, from a plumber to a pool guy to an aircon guy was installing solar then. And my call center is getting a lot of calls of bad installation because they're not getting a return on investment. Their batteries are breaking, that type of stuff. So yes, some of the clients do believe that solar is not the way to go, but then again, it was just not designed correctly and set up correctly. The system is there, it must just get set up correctly. My technicians do go out there and make sure that it works, and then you get a return. But there is unfortunately a lot of fake stuff, stolen stuff that's come through our borders, and those stuff just don't work. They just don't work, and that does give the reputational damage to the good installers.
Absolutely. And I suppose one of the most important key stakeholders in this conversation is the insurance industry, and the role that it plays in the solar industry or the solar system industry. What is it what role do they play? And as a consumer, what is it that I should be mindful of, in terms of making sure that I get an accredited installer, just to make sure that should anything go wrong, insurance company is on my side?
Yeah, we've been approached by a number of insurance companies to actually provide training to the underwriters and the risk assessors, and also with some of the claims that came through, whether it actually complied to requirements. Because it's not only the legal requirements, the various equipment suppliers each got their own installation manuals. And it tells you, if you want the warranties that was mentioned, that you actually need to install it very specifically. The clamping of the panels must be within the clamping zones, ventilation on inverters must be there, the protection of batteries with fuses to prevent overloading. And if you don't do that, then your claim might actually not be approved. So it's important to know that it's not just the COC, it's not just the requirements in terms of law, is the insurance element as well. And specifically, for example, inverters, with some of the municipalities having the small-scale embedded generation licenses, most of them actually work on the fact that your inverter must not negatively affect your neighbors or the network that you connect to. So therefore, your inverter must be on the approved inverter list. And people need to know that, otherwise they might not be able to get some of the license needed or get a claim rejected.
Okay. Now, Rein, earlier on you touched a bit on rentals. Is there perhaps a rental option, and just how prevalent is it? Is it a wise option if I don't have, you know, the capacity to be buying the entire system?
So yeah, we launched a rental solution, so it's a finance solution. So it works a bit like a car. You rent the solar system over a 7-year period, and then the system is yours. After the 7 years, you pay a payment, and then
just basically a rent to own.
It's a rent to own. I believe in that model, that because let's say it's 100,000 rand, nobody has 100,000 rand lying around anymore.
Yeah.
So you pay us a fee of like 1,500 rand a month. We come and install it, we maintain it, we insure it, so you don't have an insurance problem, and for those 7 years, and then up to the 10, because it's warranted for 10 years.
Yeah.
So you're going to get 3 years of free power in the end. So you're paying the system off, you're benefiting from the cost saving and load shedding point of view, and it takes all the worries away from an installation point of view, from a compliance point of view, from all those point of views. It gets installed in your house. If it breaks or anything like that, you phone us up, and then we'll come and fix it or replace it, whatever it is.
But then why is it called a rental when, you know, the goal is to eventually own it after 7 years? Because, you know, there's some people who prefer not to buy it. Maybe after 7 years, you take it back because they're relocating elsewhere. So
there's two finance models, so rent to own or subscription. So subscription is you just pay monthly for the system. So every month you just pay a fee, but you're never going to own it. So in my point of view, from a financial bit, it's like renting a car from Avis. But you're never going to own it. You're not paying it off. So a rent to own, after 7 years, you own it, and then you get the benefits of the whole system that you've paid it off. Okay. So then, because it's warranted for 10 years, you get the extra 3 years of free power and the usage of your system. And if it breaks in year 10, which is unlikely, then you just replace that component. You don't have to use. So it's a much better finance option than a subscription model that you never own it. Okay, got you. Let's now take our first caller, Sina Buitumelo from Kimberley. A very good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome. Buitumelo in Kimberley, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir. Welcome. Thank you so much for calling. What's on your mind? Talk to me.
My question is, if I buy the solar system from the Ingwe family, and they said I must come and connect it myself, will that issue be fine?
Sorry, will I get what? Come again?
If I buy the solar system at a certain company, and that company asked me to put that solar system by myself, is it good? Number two is a question. I heard that you speak about the insurance cover.
Yes.
Which insurance does it cover the solar system?
Okay. All right, Buitumelo, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your calls. And I guess we'll definitely answer you. Gentlemen, two questions there.
I'll answer the first one. Definitely he's not allowed to. He's not qualified. You have to be a qualified electrician by law to install the solar system. You can't sign it off. He's just legally not allowed. He can't climb on his roof because he has to have working at heights, he has to have safety. There's a lot of components with that. But with regards to the insurance part, you can answer that.
Okay, maybe just hold your thoughts because now we have to take another quick break and we've got to pay the bills. And for now, let's take another break and we'll be right back. Yilungelo, Lakho. Sakumola futhi mbukele khumbula ukuthi tincingo tethu so tivuliwe ukuthi ke nawe ungaba ingcenye enkulumo yethu namhla ngwashaya icingo khona la e-studio ku 011-714-0671 noma ke 011-714-0672 or you can send us a WhatsApp to 060-844-9857. You can also email your thoughts to consumer@sabc.co.za. Send us your questions, your experiences or even topic suggestions noma ke ungasinza ke ku Facebook. Now gentlemen, and Rocco, I want you to answer the second question that Buitumelo in Kimberley asked when it comes to insurance.
So I think that different aspects to it. There's guarantees and warranties, and there's insurance. So I'll briefly cover both. The suppliers, the main equipment comes with guarantees. They clearly stipulate if installed by competent people and registered people. And also if you register the warranties, they actually ask for photos of it to actually see that you actually complied with that. So if correctly installed, that part covers with different parts, the different periods and conditions that they actually have. The other one is insurance per se. Insurance is normally covered as part of your house itself because it's actually fastened to that. So the insurance is normally fairly affordable because it's part of that. And if there's a claim then, and as part of the claims they actually ask as well in terms of photos of it, or assessor might come out, but then it's covered as part of that part for any occurrence based on your insurance policy you've got.
And I wonder what insurance covers. Does it cover the panel, the battery, the inverter, or the entire system?
It obviously depends on specifically what you insured. Most of the insurance that's actually provided give all risk insurance. Most of the insurance companies nowadays ask for a certain level of surge and lightning protection, more surge than lightning, and then it's covered under that part. But even in terms of hail, which is obviously a risk in terms of PV panels, and if you got the right equipment installed and there's a surge damage, then they'll cover that as well.
Okay. Now, gentlemen, let's talk about, if there's no sunlight for days on end. So is the solar system able to harvest the little bit of heat, or does it harvest the direct sunlight or the heat generated from the sunlight?
So if it's very overcast, like a massive thunderstorm, yes, it's not going to produce. But just overcast, yes, it will produce a percentage of that. So probably 20 to 30%, depending on if it's facing the correct way, clean panels, that type of stuff, because you've got to always keep your panels clean if there's a lot of dust. It also won't work. It's like having a cloud.
Right.
So yeah, so it does produce, but like at night, it's not going to produce.
Right.
So there's a lot of factors to that, and what type of panel you have installed to make sure that it produces the power you want, and then the savings you want in the end. Yeah.
Right, and I would imagine it takes a great deal of cleverness in terms of positioning the panel to face a certain way, doesn't it?
Yes.
Because you have to face it where the sunlight is most direct or intense, isn't it? Does it really matter? Yeah,
I think it's more than that. That's obviously one of the aspects. We normally do simulations. It's called TSRF, your total solar resource factor, but not to get too technical. What we see many installations done by companies where panels are obviously electrically connected in a certain way. So normally we'll have 5 in a string, and for the system to work optimally, those 5 must all look in the same direction.
Okay.
Some of the cases we see people put it up to 3 different directions, and it will directly impact on your production. You'll have less.
Right, right. All right, let's take our next caller. We've got Sophie from Pretoria. Sophie, very good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Hello.
Sophie, good afternoon. Welcome.
How are you?
Very well, Sophie. How are you? What's on your mind? Talk to me.
I'm good. So, with the Alumo, can I connect the stove, the washing machine, the air fryer, everything can run in one?
Okay, gentlemen, you can answer her directly. She's on the line.
Yeah, I think we're fortunate that technology the past couple of years developed a lot. So there is no technical limitation anymore in terms of, certainly not for residential, in what you can do from it. We hear sometimes in the industry people that are not informed saying, yeah, don't put the air conditioners on that, it can't do that or can't do that. But technically there's nowadays, I would say, no limit on that. It's more a matter in those cases of budget.
All right, Sophie, I hope you're answered. So you can connect any appliance in your house to the solar system, be it a washing machine, a stove, or whatever appliance you have. Thank you so much for your calls. That was Sophie from Pretoria. Now, gentlemen, what's more important is the after sales, because we're talking about the right installation with the credible installers. But what really happens after I've installed? I've made the payments, and then what?
Back to like my car analogy earlier, your car's got to get serviced. so does the solar system got to get serviced and checked and make sure that it's working correctly, that it's installed. Stuff, there's bolts, a bolt might get loose on the roof, that you torque it. So we, after 6 months, if you rent it from us, we'll go out and make sure that everything's correct. We also got very fancy cameras that do a heat analysis. So if we take a photo of it, we can see if there's a hot spot, it's called, and then we can make sure that that hot spot goes away. If the bolt's loose or loose connection like that. Your panels, if there's birds' nests underneath that can cause a fire. So there's a few components from a maintenance point of view. And then if it breaks, you do need technicians to come out. If you go with a one-man band and he's busy on another installation and you phone him up, he's not going to come out. So if with a bigger company, you can definitely have, we got a lot of technicians that are on call 24/7 that you can phone up to our call center and they come out and fix it.
Right, right. Yeah. All right, let's take our next caller. We've got Pauline in Johannesburg. Pauline, good afternoon, welcome.
Well, thank you. How are you, gentlemen?
Hi.
Very well. How are you, Pauline? Thank you so much for calling.
I'm good. Yes. I've got two questions. Because I started late, I just wanted to find out, I think they said 1.5, and then how many panels are there?
Okay. Yeah, so I can't tell you how many panels are that. It's, again, if you go to our website, you can see what rental and what system you'll get. Okay. Like I alluded to earlier, we'll design the correct system for you and your budget. If you have 1,500 Rand disposable income for a solar system, they'll design the battery panel, how many panels you want to get, maybe less battery, maybe you need more battery with less panels. So it's really bespoke to what your needs are. And that's why my sales reps will go out and design the correct system for your budget. Sure. And make sure that it doesn't trip.
All right. Sophie, we certainly hope that you answered. Thank you so much for your call. Now, Rocco, just back to his car analogy that, you know, whenever you buy a car, it needs to be serviced. Maybe I'll make an example of every 15,000 kilometers. But how often should he service a solar system?
I think firstly what's very important is to understand whoever you deal with is what service you're going to get. And I think it justifies a discussion before you put any money on the table. Because any system, there's still some fine-tuning that you want to do the first couple of months. In our case, for example, we give free technical support for the first 6 months. But most of the money for the installers is actually in the equipment. And that's why, and after sales service and going out and dealing with issues obviously expensive. So we recommend that there's at least once a year a check of the system and the hotspots and things we mentioned. Look at that.
All right, and I understand that Pauline also has another question, and Pauline is asking, okay, I understand Pauline is still on the line. Pauline, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Pauline, good afternoon, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here. I just want to check with gentlemen there, electric fence can also be covered by those panels.
Okay, good question, Pauline. Electric fence, is it covered?
I think one must first just say that obviously the size of your inverter must be correct to be able to supply everything that you want to supply. So yes, electric fence can be supplied as well. Just be aware that anything connected to inverter must be protected as well. Inverters are very sensitive in terms of picking up problems. So things like earth leakages in terms of it or whatever is necessary, that the fault in the electric fence or something doesn't go through to the inverter. But if the inverter is the right size and electric fence meet the legal requirements, then size-wise, you do get inverters that can do that.
Okay, so basically, in case we get more questions from our viewers, you know, the bigger the inverter, the bigger the battery, then it can cover the whole house, isn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely. Correct. All right. Great stuff. Please do join us after this break. Leli, Yilungelo Lakho. Welcome to our very final segment. About the solar system, the installation of solar systems, and the importance of getting an accredited and certified solar installation personnel to ensure that you get an efficient service from that particular system. Now, gentlemen, earlier on, obviously you cannot talk about solar system without touching on the high price. And maybe the question that comes is the pricing model. What are some of the models that we should consider, or maybe that would possibly suit our pockets?
Yeah, I think it's a very important aspect for people to consider and give a bit of thought. For example, we're in partnership with a number of commercial banks. They offer loan structures where you can actually, they add it to your home loan, and you can actually use that as well, the rent to own, or the various models. But I think the important aspect, the system that's designed right, should actually not cost you any additional money. It should be what you save on it, because it should be already what you paid on electricity. That should be replaced with the system. I think what we've seen in systems that are not correctly designed or not the right equipment is that very little focus is actually given on making sure that all the components give you the savings that you want in the first place. Because if that's done right, then actually the whether it's the rental model or the finance model, that is actually just the offsetting of cost rather than additional cost.
Okay, Rein, your thoughts?
Okay, yeah. So in my mind, there's three different finance options. One is outright purchase, which is your quickest return on your money.
Yes.
So if you go with a correct design system, that you have a reputable company that if it breaks, they can come out and fix it for you. That's your quickest return. Second best return for us is the rent-to-own model. That includes your insurance, it includes your maintenance, and it includes, of course, the system must be up and running all the time. Subscription model is that you just pay for every month and you get the service of power. In the end, you're buying power, and it's seen as being Eskom. Because you're never going to ever own it, and you never get the benefits of owning the system in the end.
Please say that again for the subscription model.
So a subscription model is a month to month. It's advertised as a month to month cost. So
what am I paying for? For the system?
You're paying for the power that the system can produce.
Really? Who am I paying? Because the power is from the sun.
There is components that's installed in your house. So if those components need to get paid off from a financial model, in the end, the person who's funding it in the back end, he wants his return on his money. So a subscription model, you're paying 1,000 Rand a month for, and it will increase by 6% a month, and then you're going to go into eternity. Where a rent to own is 7 years, and after the 7 years you'll own it, and then your insurance, your maintenance, and all that's included. Where outright purchase, if you take money out of your home loan from a financial institute, is the cheapest money because you're going to get the quickest return, but it must be designed correctly, and they must be after sales. Because if the guy, I call them a bucky brigade, comes and installs it, breaks after a year, he's gone. Well, I don't know who you're going to get it fixed, and it might not be warranted, and then you're really going to lose a lot of money. So
what's the point then of taking the subscription model when I could perhaps take the rent-to-own model, pay for 7 years, and then after 7 years I completely own the system?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's the best financial model in my mind. We developed that. We were the first ones to launch it in 2018. After 7 years, you own it, because it's always a give and take in human beings. We're going to fund it for you, and after 7 years, it's yours. It's warranted for 10 years. The panels are warranted for 30 years. So you really do get a benefit in the end after the 7 years that it is yours, and we still maintain it. You phone us up, we'll come if it's breaking. Within that warranty period, in 48 hours, we will replace it and make sure that system is up and running and you get your financial return. Because in the end, you want to save money.
Of course, of course. Now, gents, as a parting shot, is there a body that regulates you guys in terms of if I'm complaining of bad workmanship on my house or on my solar system, I can run to?
I think there are a couple of bodies. Obviously, the electricians are registered. The electrician, the person plus the company must be registered by at the Department of Labour. Okay. So that's one of it. There are various like ECA, the Electrical Contractors Association, that can do as well. But also it helps if companies are PV Green Card and Subvia, South African PV Institute, register with them as well, because it just gives more opportunities in terms of if there's bad workmanship to at least report it.
Okay. Gentlemen, this is an ongoing conversation. We certainly hope to have you again in future, to tackle some more questions that may arise from this particular topic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Kwanyalo kumbukele sesifika emaphethelweni ehlelo lethu namhla. Let me thank our guests for making time to be with us. Ngithaza bonga kanye nani ke mbukele ngekuba nathi kuze kube manje. Sihlangana futhi evikile letako la kumamba phambili SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Sitfolakala futhi ku SABC Plus na ku SABC Lahai. From Miss Mpio Ngongwane and the rest of the team, nisale kahle. Wishing you all the great week ahead. Cheers.